Today we're going to be talking about response to intervention and multi-tiered system of supports. So an example of multi-tiered resistance to supports is a district special education director met with all of the elementary special education teachers and asked them to work with her on implementing an RTI model, screening for reading and math difficulties twice a year in kindergarten and first grade. But then she decided to enhance it through fifth grade. This school was providing reading intervention support, but decided to implement appropriate interventions of math in first through third and fifth grade. Mary Jo decided to assist in selecting research-based interventions in reading and math and offered her to facilitate training of key personnel to provide these interventions. RTI multi-tiered system of supports. This process has many difficulties, such as discrepancy between IQ and achievement, for example, math or reading performances. Students who would not be provided services until it is too late are often victims of this discrepancy. The reason limited exposure to school achievement opportunities, a discrepancy between identifying students with potential learning or behavior problems. Students who respond well to interventions do not require subsequent support. And students whose response to interventions, such as supplemental reading instruction for 30 minutes a day, is low, may receive additional supplemental instruction. Educators use the data gathered as a result of monitoring student progress or progress monitoring. Past and present challenges. RTI and MTSS may vary based on state, district, or even school guidelines. To change a prevailing view related to waiting for a student to fail, the prevailing approach was perhaps to wait and hope that students would demonstrate improved academic or behavior progress over time. That is why RTI and MTSS serve as a prevention and intervention model. What these changes mean for special educators and for the students in your school. Previous identification procedures. More than 200% of students identified as having a learning disability since the category was established. Through emphasis on an IQ achievement discrepancy and processing disorders, particularly for culturally and linguistically diverse students, adopting the RTI model, also referred to as a multi-tiered system of supports, which resolved many previous issues at the early grades, waiting for students to have the IQ achievements while documenting progress and using research-based approaches. Components of RTI and MTSS. Screening to identify students with academic or behavior problems. Implementation of effective classroom instructional practices so all students have opportunities to learn and receive behavioral supports. Implementation of multi-tiered system of supports when students fall behind initially with less intensive intervention, which is Tier 2, and then later with more intensive intervention, which is Tier 3. If students' progress is not adequately accelerated so that they reach grade level expectations. Provisions of a more intensive RTI, which is Tier 3, for students whom a less intervention is inadequate. Students who are considered special education students can be provided with services with Tier 3, and access to increasingly intensive interventions and more systematic supports is provided based on students' needs. The timing of when students are referred for special education can be based on more traditional approaches in which the teachers make a referral and use data from progress monitoring. So this is basically a narrow down on how we can help our students achieve and succeed beforehand, before they fail.